Leaderboard, this is Darrian P. Mack. I wanted to just pop in for a quick video. Some major news happened regarding Star Wars Battlefront 2. If you haven't already heard, EA and DICE have decided to suspend microtransactions and all paid in-game content. And so this is kind of a huge development. For those who haven't been following, the global launch, which is today, of Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been shrouded in controversy. Earlier this week, the EA sponsored a Reddit sort of question and answer, and their responses to the community about their microtransactions and loot crates, which has been the crux of the controversy, received the highest downvote in the history of Reddit. I think last time I checked it was over 400,000. It might even be close to 500,000. I probably hit 1 million before the end of the week, but the gamer community has been just outraged by what seems to be an unavoidable or unfair advantage built within the game. So basically, the microtransactions allow people to buy, or you could spend real world money to buy in-game currency known as crystals. And these crystals could be used to redeem or acquire star cards, unlock heroes, and other DLC. And these star cards have some real powerful advantages, and they give players greater health, they give players greater stamina, they give players more powerful weapons. And so if you have a lot of money to spend in the game, you could easily come out the gate with a really unfair advantage. The other problem that EA was facing with their microtransactions is the amount of time, right? So even if you didn't spend money, you had to spend a lot of time grinding to unlock a single character. Some of the estimates had that at 40 hours to unlock Darth Vader, for instance. So a lot of the hero characters, people that were looking forward to playing these iconic characters from throughout the Star Wars universe, were really disappointed at how much time or money it was going to cost to acquire these sort of things in game. And so EA's initial response throughout the week was, hey, listen, what we're going to do, we're going to bring the cost down of the characters, of the hero characters. So they brought it down by 75%. But what they also did was limited the amount of crystals you could earn in game. So even as they brought the cost down of the characters, they also limited how much crystals you could earn in game, which ultimately is kind of a switcheroo. You know, they give with one hand and take with the other, which further outraged gamers. And so EA just released a statement late last night, and I think Kotaku was one of the first people to break the story. And it basically reads, as we approach the worldwide launch, it is clear that many of you feel there are still challenges in the design. We've heard the concerns about potentially giving players unfair advantages, and we've heard that this is overshadowing an otherwise great game. This was never our intention. Sorry, we didn't get it right. We hear you loud and clear, so we're turning off all in-game purchases. We will now spend more time listening, adjusting, balancing, and tuning. This means the options to purchase crystals in the game is now offline, and all progression will be earned through gameplay. The ability to purchase crystals in-game will become available at a later date, only after we've made changes to the game. We'll share more details as we work through this. There are a couple of implications that come from this statement, and I would say this broader controversy. Number one, regardless of how you look at EA's response and how they've been responding to the controversy and what they posted yesterday, personally, I think this is a win for gaming communities. EA was forced to respond because of the outrage, because of the Reddit votes, because of the posts, because of the comments across social media. This sends a signal not just to EA, but I think the broader gaming community at large, right? Like, we have to think about the fact that I don't think that gamers, and as a gamer myself, it's not just Battlefront 2, right? It's this microtransaction trend in general. And I think what this situation culminated in is just fans' frustration with gaming industry trying to make more money off of a single game, and really putting unfair advantages or unfair systems, building that into the game. And it creates a level of inequality. So for EA to make such a drastic move, I think, to suspend it, we don't have a lot of information about how long it's going to be suspended. We don't know how long it'll take for you to earn some of this DLC or get your hero cards or get your star cards. But the fact that they are listening and that they've made this change in order to save the game, really, I think is huge. And I think the folks who have really been on grinding about this, and the fans who have been talking about it, should be commended for that. As a person who is in love with the Star Wars Battlefront franchise. Like, I still go back to play Star Wars Battlefront 2. I've talked about this on the channel. It is absolutely one of my favorite games. Galactic Conquest mode, come see about me. But it is a really fun game, and I think they've hit some of the right notes. There's a lot of other issues with it, but I think this Battlefront 2 remake is so much better than the first one. And one of the major reasons I got this game is because I was excited for the campaign mode. I love story, I love RPGs, and so I haven't dug too much into that. I'll be sharing my thoughts on that at a later date, but I think the story mode is a step in the right direction. To have a strong story with great multiplayer, you're in a good space. So, you know, those are my personal thoughts, and we were excited to ask you guys, you know, ask the Leaderboard community on the community tab. We posted a poll this morning, and over 3,500 of you responded within the first hour. That was an overwhelming response, so I'm so thankful for the community that we're building here. And basically, I was surprised by the results. We were basically asked the question, are you more or less likely to buy the game as a result of what EA has done? And 24% of you said that you're more likely to buy the game, and 8% of you said that you're less likely to buy the game as a result of this move. 52% of you said, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change your opinion either way. Either you were going to buy the game or you're not going to buy the game. The microtransactions didn't really make much of a difference, and about 12% of you said that you're not sure. There were a couple of key comments that came out of that, and I just want to highlight a few of those. Elemental Phoenix, who selected this move by EA doesn't change my mind either way option, basically said, EA thinks this move will fix their public view of them. Of course not. Keyword is temporary, meaning that as soon as more people buy Battlefront 2, they will microtransactions once more. And I think Elemental Phoenix, you bring up a really good point. It is a temporary fix, but the hope is that EA will really take some time to rework the system. Listen, I get that microtransactions are a part of the economy of gaming and how it works now, but hopefully they'll take cues from the community, take cues from, you know, like Overwatch. All of it's cosmetic. It doesn't give players an unfair advantage either way. So Jacqueline Gates echoed Elemental Phoenix's sentiment. She basically said, already owned it, but if they removed star cards altogether, I feel it would even out the game. I feel they should have gone the route of Overwatch with loot boxes only giving you customizable looks. Paying to get better star cards and loot boxes is PTW, since peeps with higher star cards equipped become slightly more powerful than ones without it. In my honest opinion, campaign mode is the only thing I love. I got you, Jacqueline, that's why I bought the game too. But Mr. Landshark551 came in with a contrary opinion, and some of you echoed Mr. Landshark was saying. He selected the other comment and he said, I really don't care what happens. I'm just glad that the people who think Battlefront is a pay to win will shut up for now and allow the rest of us to enjoy this great game. In my opinion, everyone is hating on Battlefront 2 because they think it's normal to do so, just like hating on the prequel trilogy and believing the stormtroopers weren't trained properly. I think Mr. Landshark has a good point here. We should all kind of temper our reactions to some of the things that EA is doing. I still think the game is great. The Starfighter mode, the arcade mode, some of the versus modes, the heroes versus villain mode, I think those are really fun, and I could spend hours doing it. So I think overall the game is great. There are just some major things or some minor tweaks that they can make to improve the gaming experience for everybody, especially in a competitive or multiplayer sense. And Jack Wilson kind of rounds out our final comments that I thought were really interesting, because he kind of agrees with Mr. Landshark. He basically says, I wasn't butthurt about it before, so I don't mind. Can't argue with that. I think in conclusion, the major question here is, will this be enough to save the game, right? Will the gaming community, will all of us out there be more likely to buy the game? Are we going to be more likely to support EA? Does this change our opinion about the company itself? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. Personally, I think EA needs to go back and rework the entire system. I think the star cards were a great concept, but the way that they're achieved and earned, and the imbalance that they can create in a multiplayer setting really needs to be reworked. I mean, if you remember Battlefront 2 for PlayStation 2, you had different buffs, you had different abilities that you could purchase. I think a system where you have a certain pool of resources and you have to decide before you go into a game where you spend those resources, and they're equal for every player, and the decisions that you make based on the environment or the situation is probably a more equitable system than what we have in place right now. So if they went back to that model, I think that would go a long way to improving the system. And also, I think transparency. We still don't know exactly how many hours it's going to take to earn the required number of crystals to do some of these things. So I think if EA can be more transparent about that, just be upfront about it. If it's going to take me 20 hours to achieve Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker, I can then decide who I want to spend that money on. If I want to spend that 20 hours on Luke Skywalker going in. I mean, this is all optional stuff and I get that, but I think the transparency will help people in making, you know, a determination of whether or not they want to invest in the game. $60 is still a lot of money to buy a game, and when you add this additional cost on top of it, it's no longer fun. It's no longer a transparent system. You know, finally, I just hope other developers pay attention, right? I hope other developers are looking at what happened to EA and DICE and really listen to the fans and listen to the gaming community, right? We love games. Games should be accessible. They're about community. And when you create a game that takes away from community, that takes away from accessibility, then you need to go, I think you need to go back and rethink that and rework it. Those are my quick thoughts. Make sure you comment down below. How long do you think EA will keep in-game purchases suspended? Or do you think this is going to open up a trend? Will other developers reduce the amount of microtransactions that they're putting into games because of what happened to EA? Comment down below, let us know. Again, thanks for watching this video, and stay tuned to the channel because we're going to be uploading a 107 facts video all about Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's got a lot of really interesting information that you don't want to miss. And if you want to get more videos like this one or the 107 facts, make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you're already subscribed, make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified on whenever we upload. Pretty much we upload every single day of the week. And one more final note, we're going to be live streaming Battlefront 2's campaign mode and multiplayer mode throughout this week and next week. So you also want to keep coming back for that more Star Wars Battlefront 2 content, all right? And remember, to get more out of your games, keep it here at the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.